Hi guys, Asmo here, and I got for you a quick build update. The build is absolutely zooming, the maps feel amazing. I am really happy with the choices I made so far, and this is like a great starter. It's exactly what I expected. One tap packs, performs very well. All the choices that I made for the movement speed I think are paying off because the maps are relatively quick compared to what I've seen other people do, and the damage is really good, and the survivability, well, is just don't get hit, and we have armor and evasion to kind of facilitate that. Working on my resistances, still not capped on everything, so I have capped fire res, I have like 64 cold res, but I only have like 30 something lightning res and 10% chaos res, so difficult to cap resistances, but working on it over time. The character is level 77 only so far, but I made some different choices with the passives compared to what I showed in the mobalytics guide, so I'm actually going to be updating the passive tree on the mobalytics guide to reflect more what I think you should be going for when you're mapping before swapping to crit, because I realized that for crit you actually need specifically the right crossbow. For example, you need like higher base chance for crit, or you need to use like unique gloves, which would require sacrificing some life and resistances, which early on you really cannot afford to do. So I think the swap to crit is gonna come later, and before that we got some other really good passives to pick up. So I'm gonna show you some footage in the background that you're gonna be seeing. It's gonna be some footage from just like running around. That's how mapping looks like. Right now I'm doing like T6 maps or something like that, so that's how the mapping looks like right now. It's very easy, like one-shotting essences and rare monsters. The bosses are very simple. I wish the bosses were actually more difficult and had more life, so that it would be like a, you know, more of a fight, but I guess I just have so much damage, or everybody has so much damage, that it's just like so easy, right? I've heard some of the complaints from people talking about how the game is too slow and the bosses take too long and the mobs surround you and kill you, and all of those comments, I guess, are basically self-report and a skill issue, because as you're seeing in the background footage, the game is easy as hell, and there's really no issues of like, you know, not being able to kill monsters because they surround you. Like, unless you're like completely rushing the content and neglecting your gear and trying to race. But why are you doing that if you're some kind of a noob, right? Like, if you're not a racer, why would you be trying to race and then complain that you're not doing well, right? Just like farm up, gear up. Game is gonna be so much easier if you're gonna gear, and my gear is not even that good, right? But I'm gonna show my gear. So I guess first I'm gonna show the passives, then I'm gonna talk about the gems so that you can know all the setup stuff that I have, and then we can talk about the gear as well at the end. So the passives, let's talk about the ascendancy first. A lot of people have been playing Gemling Legionnaire as well. I think Gemling Legionnaire is really good. I would definitely recommend the Gemling Legionnaire if you like that. It's a very versatile ascendancy, so you can swap to a lot of different builds. This is also a very versatile ascendancy, but I like it a lot. I like the single target damage coming from Decimating and Calling Strike, and also the explodes from the Zealous Inquisition. They feel amazing while mapping, so I really like this choice. And you know, once you do the third lab, it's a really nice boost to your damage in terms of the clear and bosses. So it just feels like all over the place, like very good. Every single node you pick up is like a little bit better. Your character just keeps progressing. So the passives right now, I picked up here on the left side, there are some cool nodes that are relatively quickly. It's only 4 travel passives to pick up 2 nice clusters. One has attack speed, so this is a large amount of attack speed that we're getting, and one has AoE. So this is increased area of effect for attacks, as well as area damage for attacks. So that's what we're picking up here, and you can pick up more AoE here as well. So that's the little detour I did. I also picked up the dexterity and accuracy for extra accuracy, because I was at like 95% accuracy, so I went to 100 with this. Also picked up some projectile nodes here for now. Temporarily I was picking up some cooldown, but once I got a little bit of quality on my grenades, this was no longer necessary. And then we are pathing also to the left side for some more AoE and cooldown reduction. This is also pretty nice cluster. We're also close to the fire and the armor evasion here. Here, as I had before, we have the repeating explosives and sand in the eyes, which is just more attack speed, and blind. And of course, we're pathing to the right side for movement speed. And I found even more movement speed on this side, which comes from this node. This little node gives additional 2% movement speed. So now I have, I think, like 47.5% bonus movement speed while mapping, while killing enemies. A large part thanks to the adrenaline rush as well, giving extra boost after you kill for 4 seconds. So basically kind of like mini onslaught. So that's very, very fun. And then also I am stacking a lot of jewels because we're pathing this side, right? In like preparation to like crit swap and stuff like that. We are also, you know, having access to a lot of jewel sockets. So we got a jewel socket here. This is, I have here, I think, charm duration, elemental damage, evasion rating, right? So as long as you have like 2 good stats, you're good to go, right? It's very much worth it if you have like 2 good stats. So this one has like good evasion and good elemental damage. Charm duration, not that important, but a little bit of a boost because I'm using the rarity one. So after killing a rare for a second, like if you're blowing up a pack with it, and maybe even the rare itself is affected by it, you get some extra rarity. And I'll talk about the rarity more when I get to the gear. Then the other socket we have here, movement speed, evasion, critical damage bonus, and damage with crossbows. So this is basically 4 good mods once I go for crit, right? So I had to snipe this. This was a very, very nice jewel that I found. Then we have another jewel with movement speed, attack damage, elemental damage, and increased duration of ignite and shock and chill. So basically 4 useful mods. Some of them, you know, 5% attack damage is not that much, but together with the 12% elemental and the movement speed and the like shock duration, right, and ignite duration, I guess as well, but shock duration mainly for bosses is very nice. Then we have another jewel here that has increased elemental damage. This one I need to upgrade. This has, you know, only one valid good mod. Everything else is not useful on this. I could try to maybe exalt it and see if I get something decent, but it's probably cheaper to buy a jewel that has 2 decent mods for 1 exalt. And then we also have another jewel here that has 2% attack speed, 15% damage with crossbows, and 6% increased attack damage. So this is 21 increased damage and 2% movement speed, just like a nice notable, very, very good. And mana recovery from flasks also helps a little bit. So that's another jewel that we have here. The rest is just like movement speed, evasion, this damage here like per ailment, right? Increased damage per ailment. And that's basically how the passive skill tree looks like. It feels really good. I think this is very efficient in terms of the pathing because we do need a lot of attributes, and other than pathing, and I've seen some people like recommend going here and grabbing these attributes, which gives you a lot of attributes, but it's not that much more than just like grabbing an extra node to travel and then getting good stuff, right? Getting like jewel sockets, getting the movement speed here, movement speed and damage here, you know, you get lots of good stuff. Also, chance to maim on hit is really nice because when you're like slowing enemies with your maim and with your oil, you are getting them to stay within the range of the grenades for longer. So that basically allows you to, you know, deal more damage and be more consistent with it. So that's the passives. Now let's talk about the gems. So for gems, I have a 6-link. I actually found the 6-link jeweler. I found a bunch of jewelers for like 5 links, and I found the jeweler for 5 link, I think during acts, like in act 6, I found this one. And then for 6-link, I found it in like a T5 map or something. They're pretty rare, but you can of course trade and you can buy for them. Definitely worth getting if you are, you know, playing for a long time, you're lacking damage or you're lacking utility. So for the explosive grenade right now, I have also 15% quality on it just from the GCPs that I've been finding, and that gives me a little bit more cooldown, which is useful for single target damage. And so we have here scatter shot for 2 extra projectiles, primal armament for elemental damage, magnified effect for AoE, martial tempo for attack speed, and then fast forward for lower skill effect duration. And this is also very specific. I want to explain why this is in this exact place. Then we have gas grenade with corrosion, inspiration, demolisher, and fire infusion. So you could potentially put, for example, martial tempo in the gas grenade and then run fire infusion in this one, right? But what would result is you would have, the thing is, you want to place explosive grenades first, and then you want to place gas grenades, because the gas grenades are going to detonate first anyway, right? So if you see, I'm shooting this, and then gas grenades are going to detonate first, and then explosive grenades. So even if I shoot these first, so you always want to shoot explosive grenade first. That's why it's better to have the martial tempo linked with the grenade that you're gonna shoot first, because that one is gonna speed up the animation that you have. Like if you play a lot, you're gonna notice this, that if I'm, for example, I'm gonna cast grenade, like the gas grenade, and then I'm gonna cast explosive grenade, right? So you see very quick succession, right? But if I do it the other way around, it's a bit of a delay. So that's why you would like to cast the gas grenade first, but you actually prefer to cast the explosive grenade first for the clear, because you want it to detonate as soon as possible. So that's why we want the thing that we cast first to detonate, or like to go off as quick as possible. So that's where we want to link the martial tempo, right? So that's why martial tempo, fire infusion, and the fire infusion benefits this damage. You're one-shotting everything, even with gas grenades, if it's like a normal white pack, sorry, even with the explosive grenades, I guess with the gas grenades as well. So you don't really need the damage. Both of them can have the damage. You'll deal it anyway, because you're just like placing two of them, and then the gas pops, and then this one explodes, and that's like the fastest way of dealing damage, and that's why they're linked like that, right? Then we have oil grenade, which has strip away, persistence, and encumbrance. This is for extra slow, so we're getting lots of slow and like 26% shred of the elemental resistances. And then voltaic grenade for conduction, lasting shock, and lightning infusion. This is only for bosses or like extremely tanky rares. Let's say if a rare is like fire resistant, right, and has like a, you know, lots of fire resistance, so you can just also deal lightning damage and shock it, and that way you're gonna help yourself dealing more damage. And then we have explosive shot with the double barrel, ammo conservation, nimble reload, as we had before. And the cluster grenades I'm not really using, I could just remove it, it's just here for fun. And of course, you know, Wind Dancer, Herald of Ash, we got the Clarity, Vitality, and Herbalism, Cannibalism. This is a decent combo. There's also like a nice aura that gives you Calling Strike and like ramping damage on bosses. But the thing is, like you'll see from the footage, right, like bosses and rares, they're not a problem. They die super quickly, and I'm in like mid-tier maps, you know, like tier 6 right now. So later on, maybe I will swap to that. But for now, the Wind Dancer, like the little knockback and extra evasion, is very nice. Herald of Ash explosion is very nice. I could drop maybe the Herald of Ash, because technically it's not that necessary, but it is a lot of overkill damage that then the tougher enemies like rares burn for it, right? So it's like really, really useful. But that's basically it when it comes to the gems. Now let's talk about the gear, which is very straightforward. So on the gear, early on, you don't really have that much choice. You just get whatever you can get. So first and most important is the crossbow. This is like a, I think it's like 340 DPS crossbow or something like that, because it has a lot of attack speed, which is very nice for clear. It's like a fizz based with a bunch of attack speed, and it has some life on hit, and that's it, right? It has a little bit of accuracy as well, because I think one of the fizz mods is a hybrid mod. And we put increased physical damage runes in it, because it's a physical crossbow, quality it to 20%, and that's it. And that's what we want to use, right? So bombard crossbow with a bunch of DPS. Attack speed is very nice for clear, and I really like it for like fluidity of a playstyle. So just a very simple crossbow. Then we have a helmet, which I found today during the lab. So not lab, but like the trial, right? Trial of the Sekemas. When I was doing that, the golden chests, the golden boxes actually drop really good gear. They drop like gear that has a really good mods. So I dropped a helmet that I sold for like 3x, and then I dropped this one as well, both from the same box. And this one had life, rarity, crit, and double res, right? And I also exalted it, got some evasion and mana on it, but very, very nice. And I put the life rune because I'm anticipating, like I should have probably put lightning rune, but I'm anticipating upgrading other pieces of gear, and I'm gonna have enough resistances, and then I'm gonna have like a useless rune. I'd rather just have the extra life. Extra life is also extra survivability. It's not that bad, and I'm gonna get the res elsewhere. Then also I recently upgraded my chest, but this is also still shitty chest, you know, just like couple of res, bunch of armor evasion. I'm trying to get armor evasion on everything I can. Got these boots from the campaign. Got this one. This is, I think, the one piece of gear that I actually bought. I bought it for a few X. It has a nice life, strength, double res, just armor evasion base. You know, so I basically finished it with 1x. I think I slammed on it. That gave me also armor and evasion, and maybe even the strength I slapped on it. I think I bought it because it had some like open affixes, and it had like the life and double res and stuff. And then of course quality it up and put some res on it. On the belt I like the plate belt for the extra armor. I think it's very nice. Other belts seem fairly useless, so I like the plate belt. It has couple of res and armor and life, and that's it. I would of course like more life and more res on it, and then we'll see what else we can get on it, but just keeping it simple. Then we have also just life, res, and some flat damage on this ring. On this ring we got a lot of rarity and res, as well as increased fire damage and a lot of mana. So I just put that on because it has lots of beneficial stats. So rarity is very, very useful. And here I got also like rarity, spirit, some res, some life. So I got rarity on boots, on the ring, on the amulet, and on the helmet. Rarity is very useful. You will find a lot more rare gear, you will find better currency, so you will have, you know, quicker time gearing, and early on your build sucks, you got shitty gear anyway, might as well wear like, you know, you sacrifice like 10 or 20 res, but you get like 20 rarity on something, right? So I think that's a worthwhile trade-off early on, because the gear doesn't really matter that much early on. All you need is like enough damage to one-shot everything, and then you just blast, right? And of course, you wanna, you know, accelerate your progression as much as possible, so that's why you're using rarity. And so yeah, that's basically it. That's the update. I'm gonna also update the mobalytics guide so that it has the tree that I am currently using, because I think it's more clear from that tree like what to go for a little bit longer before swapping to crit. So I'm gonna put that in, and I'm gonna leave you with like a footage of a map so that you can see how the build performs without me yapping over it, and hopefully it's gonna be educational and helpful to you. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Map.